Yeah. Yeah.
Well, hello and welcome to this Monday's edition of Movie News here at MBE. I'm your co-host Stephen John McLaughlin. I am joined, as always, with other co-host John C. Walsh. Hello, John. Did you have a nice weekend?
No, it was shite.
Were you locked up again?
We done nothing because we're stuck in the house.
Hence why I'm in my house. Hence why John's in his house, and we're not together doing this show, folks. But we'd just like to thank you once again for joining us here on our YouTube channel and, of course, our Twitch stream. We dropped a couple of F-bombs on Friday night, and we do not apologise for any of our behaviour. No. It was justified. We had just watched WandaVision and we were buzzing. But anyway, I'm going to crack on anyway with the headline of the show, and I'm assuming that is what the thumbnail is as well. Zack Snyder confirms his Justice League will be a 4-hour movie, not a mini-series. Yippee! In the words of Anakin Skywalker. I'm just going to read this, John. This is coming in from NME. In fact, it's coming in from everywhere when it dropped.
On the capture when I press this scene change.
Okay.
You're not, but you will be in a moment.
Well, look at that. That's okay. Nice swirly graphics are there. John, this is coming in from... I feel like something.
I don't really know how to get this up, Stephen. Jesus Christ.
That's okay. Listen, I'll just read this while you work that out, and it'll take everyone's mind off what you're doing. Hopefully. It was initially reported that the new Justice League would be a 4-part miniseries because of its length. However, the director has now confirmed it will be a 4-hour movie instead. Responding to a fan on the social networking site Vero, asked if the project would be a series or a one-shot movie. Snyder replied, one-shot. Now, I can't believe this is coming in from a social networking site, John, that we actually found this out. Well, we found it out, obviously, through news outlets, but this is an exclusive on a social networking site, Vero. It's big news, isn't it? You know. How do you feel about this, John? How do you feel about this being a 4-hour movie rather than a 4-part mini-series of 1-hour episodes?
Stephen, I think it's the correct decision because it diversifies choice. It diversifies it was my first picture as director. And you know what? I actually kind of liked it. I'm going to scare the hell out of you. Oh, Stephen King, what a guy. But Stephen, it's the correct choice. Let's get back on track. It's went a little bit crazy. How you doing there, Edward Annett? I can't read your name because I have the eyesight of a 90-year-old.
It's Edward Arnett.
Arnett. Hello there. Steve, it's the correct decision because it diversifies the choice available to people. If you make it a mini-series, and if you perhaps make it episodic, such as what we've been getting with WandaVision and The Mandalorian, then that's forcing people into a corner. They have to wait. Whereas if you just put it out as a big 4-hour-long movie experience, people will choose to consume it any which way they feel is necessary. We've seen it with The Irishman. I know you watched it in one go. I watched it in maybe 2. Some people it took them a week. It took them a week to watch it. So you're giving people choice and they'll consume it any which way they want. So I think that's the correct decision. And again, this sets it up for the potential when we don't have a pandemic raging. It's due to release in March. I presume vaccines will be kick-started by that point. And we may be in a situation where we could perhaps see a dual release strategy again, on HBO Max and hitting theatres. Maybe there's an intermission in the middle, a double matinee sort of feature length in the theatres. And it makes it an experience, and perhaps they can eke out some more money because they gave him a huge amount of money for this, as you know.
This is the way that Zack Snyder wanted it in the first place. This was his endgame, Infinity War. This was going to be his big epic film. How it came about and where it was placed within the sort of time slots of the DC releases is another thing. It's an argument for another day. I'm happy about it. It's the fucking Justice League at the end of the day. It's not some pish poor comic book. It's the best of the best from DC, and that's the way you see it. One continuous film, not a mini-series. John, that's a thing they could do down the line, like Tarantino's been doing with his films, breaking it up into like sort of mini-series. Do that, 10 years from now or something like that. This is the fucking Justice League, and I want to see this the way it was supposed to be seen, and I want to see it in 4 hours. I don't care about a break. I'm not I don't want to say it, but I'm not American. I like to sit down and watch stuff, and I've got the attention span for it, and I will watch it, and I will watch the 4 hours continuously, and I will love it.
Well, Stephen, we may not have a choice because we actually don't have HBO Max over here, so it may be that unless it appears on Sky, we may have to go to the theatres and watch this movie. And I've got previous for holding my water anyway. I can easily sit and watch a 4-hour long movie and not have to go to the toilet during it. And if it's captivating stuff, and I think it will be, we've seen the little snippets of this movie, numerous little trailers. We've seen a black and white one. It looks as though he's doing something distinctly different. He was a sneaky little snake, Zach. He was filming all of his stuff.
Yeah.
A 4-hour long movie within the confines of a production, keeping it quiet.
Yeah, he's playing the long game.
So he had that footage in the can, and then when one day it was perhaps possible he could go out and make his own version of a movie. No one would have thought that would have been possible 3, 4, 5 years ago.
This reminds me of Jack Douglas, the record producer Jack Douglas, on the Double Fantasy sessions. He's got another album out by secretly recording everything that was happening in the studio for the Double Fantasy in 1980. Yeah, that's it. But I can't wait. When I saw this news drop, I was very excited. I would have took the miniseries. Of course I would have, just to see what he'd done. But this is the best format for this, and it's obviously official. It's the only format for it. Well,
Stephen, you think as well about other feature-length movies, projects that were crafted for the theatre experience, the likes of Quentin Tarantino's Hateful Eight. He compartmentalised it down for a mini-series. He stretched it out. I think he added in some additional footage on Netflix. It didn't really come off as well as the actual feature-length theatrical release. For me, anyway, that was a movie deliberately designed so it could have a mission in the middle. I think he took it out in a 35mm tour in theatres, a special tour with an intermission in the middle. That was designed to be broken down, and it still didn't work. These movies are big experiences. As you says, it's the fucking Justice League, as you put it. It deserves to be consumed in a big bombastic way, and the best way to do that is in a feature-length movie, not in a mini-series. And as I says, it gives you the scope, the sort of diversity to consume it the way you want to consume it. You can watch it in one sitting, you can watch it in 3, 4, 5 sittings. It's on HBO Max for the Yanks. Over here, as I says, we may have to drag our arses over to a theatre and watch it in there. Whatever way it happens, I will be happy to watch this because I've been turned by Zack Snyder's passion, by the passion of the fan base. What he's given us, this new look at Cyborg, the look at Flash, the black Superman suit. It's going to be very, very interesting to see this guy's vision pay out. Darkseid's in there, a better looking Steppenwolf. It's jazzed up, it looks great. The music's great, hallelujah. I can't wait to see it, man.
I can't wait, John. But we're going to move on to our next topic now, and it's all about Matt Damon. Matt Damon reportedly arrives in
Remember that, Stephen?
What was that? Was that
what
Team
was
America?
It? Team America. Oh, I grew up watching that. Matt Damon. I'm Matt Damon.
Do you know something, John? They wouldn't even get away with making a film like that nowadays, would they?
No. That was only 14 years ago or something, 15 years ago.
I know. Times have changed. But Matt Damon reportedly arrives in Australia to film Thor 4. This is coming in from Screen Rant, John. Seen it all over the place on social media not that long ago. And Damon was among the surprise actors to cameo at the beginning of Thor Ragnarok. He played an Asgardian portraying Loki during the reenactment of the god of mischief, supposed dramatic death in Thor the Dark World. Meanwhile, Luke Hemsworth and Sam Neill took the roles of his brother and father. Well, that's essentially just a small part. That's not exactly significant to the movie's overall narrative. His involvement drew a lot of attention, so it's curious if he's simply reprising that character. However, as the outlet said, it seems too much of a hassle to travel during a global pandemic just for a short cameo in Thor Love and Thunder. Then again, Waititi may have expanded the role given the positive response to his involvement in Thor Ragnarok. Though,
then again, a certain football team here in Scotland, Stephen, travelled needlessly to Dubai when they were getting absolutely pumped in the league for a week's long warm weather training session. So anything's possible in this environment.
Anything's possible. Yeah. And I think, John, it's... I don't see it being a short cameo. I don't think so. I mean, they could have done a green screen if it was a cameo, really. You know, the way they did with Christopher Lee for the Hobbit films, because he was obviously too old and frail to travel to New Zealand. If it's a bigger role, and I think it is, if he's travelling to obviously do the shooting for this film, then I think it will be. The big question is it going to be reprising that actor's role? I hope not as well.
I don't know what you can do with him. Steve,
I don't know.
Steve, wouldn't it be funny if it was perhaps a multiverse concept? Could you imagine? I'll go to me, Steve, just to expand this out, my little theory here. Wouldn't it be great if he was Loki in an alternate universe and it bled in and he came through from a different timeline and he's Loki? Or maybe better even yet, Stephen, it ties into the Loki TV show and we know this guy's doing tricks. He's in cahoots with the Time Variance Authority. He's bending the rules. He's going back and forth into different dimensions or time itself. Could we see a situation where he goes back and maybe plucks this guy out and does something? Or maybe just transforms into him?
I was going to say that, John.
And kids on, he is the actual Matt Damon actor version of Loki, and then he reveals himself to be Tom Hiddleston. Wouldn't that be absolutely immense? I don't know how the timelines are working here, but it looks like Loki is in his own little world doing his own little thing, and he could come and go into different movies as he pleases. I love Matt Damon. Joking aside, he's a great actor. He's been in The Bourne, he's been in Good Will Hunting, he's been in so many other great movies over the years. This guy knows his shit. He was in Ford v Ferrari, wasn't he, with Christian Bale? He's a very talented actor. I love his bit he does with Jimmy Kimmel over in the States as well, where they both kid on, they hate each other, and he keeps stealing onto his show. So anything that's got Matt Damon in it, man, I'm attracted to it anyway. He's a great actor.
John, I like that idea, though. I like the idea of the Tom Hiddleston version of Loki disguising himself as the person, whoever Matt Damon is, in that world, for whatever reason. I think that's probably the best way it would work. I wouldn't like to see Matt Damon recast in a different role. I think that would maybe take us out of the picture a little bit, but certainly don't want him to play the actor, if you know what I mean. I'd rather that he was playing the Tom Hiddleston portraying the character, if you like.
Possibly he's an Asgardian anyway, because he is in Asgard.
Yeah.
Could it be he is perhaps some powerful guy from Asgard and he has powers? I don't know. Stephen, we've admitted it time and again, we don't know a huge amount about the comic book lore. We are comic book movie fans. I delve into it and read up on it when it requires reading up on Kang the Conqueror, guys like that. I delve into it. Time Variance Authority. But that aside, I don't know who this guy could be playing. He could be the actor. My choice would be Loki disguising himself. He's a god of mischief. The best way to do it is to be a mischievous actor and then maybe try and kill his brother again.
And Taika Waititi's style would be that as well, I think, just to sort of play on that joke from the previous film. It was a nice cameo, though, John, from Ragnarok. I liked Sam Neill in there as well, playing, obviously, the Anthony Hopkins character in that little play. I thought it was really funny that it was did. It kind of set up the sort of humour for the rest of the film, I felt, in the way it was going to go.
Yeah, and obviously he's on the throne, and he's kidding on his Odin. And Odin's dead, so he's not, he's dying. And that's when Hela makes an appearance. What a villain that was, by the way.
Yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see. I think it'll be more than just a small cameo, but we'll have to wait and see, obviously, once the film's released. But looking forward to it. But we're going to move on.
Thor is not fat in it, he has to be ripped again.
No, I doubt it will be.
Steve, have you seen Chris Hemsworth, incidentally? He's bulked up for Hulk Hogan. He's playing Hulk Hogan in a biopic.
That's right, yeah.
This guy's biceps are like two of mine together. And I've got decent ones. I've been weight training for a while, but this guy's a unit.
That's an interesting choice of project to take for him next. I think you wouldn't say that in front of Hulk Hogan. I certainly wouldn't.
Steve, I wouldn't say anything in front of Hulk Hogan because he's a bit of a racist, isn't he? He uttered some racist words, so
I don't know. I did watch him on a podcast not that long ago where he was talking about just reminiscing about Rocky 3. His short little cameo in that, playing Thunderlips, I think the character was called. Talking about Sly Stallone actually did pick him up, for that scene to put him over the top rope, and you can actually see visibly Sylvester Stallone shaking. His legs are actually
he's a big guy. 6'5" or something.
Him, but it was an interesting. Interview, and I felt when I heard about Chris Hemsworth, taking on this role, I thought it was very interesting as well. It's something I think not a lot of many people can pull off. For the physical side of Hulk Hogan, anyway.
Well, he can.
But I think he can. I think he's got the charisma as well. He's got the personality to carry that
And he's got the
character off.
steroid cycle, so he'll be good.
Yeah, he will be good. But we're going to move on, John, to our next topic, and it's all about Rogue One. Felicity Jones' final scene took a full week to film. Ooh. I think they just liked the seaside, John. I think they liked the beach setting there now. They were just milking it. But this is the scene, John, the final shot of Jin and Cassian embracing on the beach. It's considered heartbreaking. They got a tan by the end of it. Well, they really did get a tan, didn't they, with the blast?
Yeah.
Considered heartbreakingly beautiful, which it was. And Jones told the Hollywood Reporter that the pivotal final scene took a whole week to film. Check out Jones's description of what it was like filming her final Rogue One scene below. Well, I'll just read this, John. It's just a short paragraph anyway. We shot it every single evening over a week to get the right light of sunset, to get the perfect pink light. So we knew that scene inside out by the end of the week. It was just amazing to see how it morphed and shifted and changed. We shot that film in a very visceral, naturalistic, gritty way, which I think is why so many people responded to it. I think they loved it. I think they loved that it felt so real and had elements of the 70s Star Wars film that had that similar feeling of naturalism and reality. I totally agree, John. It was we went into that film obviously to see Darth Vader, you know, and really to see how these rebels got these plans. But aside from that, the look of the film, the feel of the film was very A New Hope. They nailed it. They nailed it aesthetically. They nailed it with the characters. I felt the pacing as well was very much like A New Hope as well. Very quick. You know, you see that in the first 10 minutes. Visited about 6 planets in about 10 minutes. It was absolutely frenetic. But John, what's your take on this? Because it's one of the scenes that we did enjoy in the cinema, and we'd still talk about the score. Obviously, the score during that part.
Michael
May the Force be with you, Rogue One. Yeah. You know, but it was a great scene.
Stephen, I loved the score just prior to it as well. Your father would be proud. That was my standout movement, if you'd like, piece. I don't know what you'd call it. I'm not some classical music aficionado. I do like it though. I have a violin, I just can't play it. So I get it. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that scene. I thought it was beautiful, and that was down to Tony Gilroy ultimately coming in and sorting the script out. Gareth Edwards is a decent director. He's not really done much after it. By all accounts, he created a lovey-dovey sort of Disney-esque everyone survives at the end movie, and that's just not right for this. We knew these characters didn't have a part to play in the original Star Wars movie, so it wasn't right that they survived, and then you had to explain where they were during the events of A New Hope. So he came in, Tony Gilroy, and he changed it. He made it darker, more gruesome. Vader cutting people up, them all dying. And that made it a more powerful experience because you connected to these people. You connected to Jin in particular, her relationship with Galen Russell, of course, the great Mads Mikkelsen. One of the best acted moments in a Star Wars movie when Galen meets her again via the holograph or whatever the hell it's called. It's been a while since I've dabbled with Star Wars, so I've lost the plot slightly. Is it holograph or is it
I think it's holograph,
holograph. That was a powerful moment. So it was better, Stephen, when they all died, and that scene was one of the more poignant moments. That and K2SO.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was going to mention that as well, but the sacrifice itself, John, adds weight to obviously the final assault in A New Hope, I feel, because, you know, the minute that Luke destroys the Death Star, you can look back at those events prior to that now and the sacrifice, what they went through to lead up to that moment, you know, and I felt that Gilroy, bringing him in was probably the best thing. I think, you know, Lucasfilm and Disney would perhaps maybe have been satisfied with a happy, lovey-dovey ending, like you said, but I think from a narrative, and I think Star Wars hardcore as well, fans within Lucasfilm would have advised these guys have to die. They have to sacrifice. That's what's at stake. It has to be. It can't be a happy ending because they're not in A New Hope. None of them survived, you know, and I think it just adds weight to A New Hope as well. So I thought it was a great scene. The score, John, the score was amazing. You know, it's one of the best scores out with a John Williams score.
Stephen, you get a lot of shit, Michael, for that, but if you do recall, he had 2 to 3 weeks. He had to step in. I think it was someone else originally scoring it. He stepped in at short notice, took over, and he done a great job. I thought it was really well scored. Michael Giacchino was an amazing composer. He's up and coming. almost seen as the heir apparent to John Williams for a while, but his stock's dropped a little bit, but he's still great. You're right what he says about adding some real sort of emotive moment to that final scene, or the moment where the Death Star's destroyed in A New Hope. Chris Weitz, I think it was. I've actually looked at Weitz. I can't pronounce his name. I think he was the guy who wrote it prior to Tony Gilroy. And of course, if you recall correctly, he was looking at the opening crawl from A New Hope, and they seen that little moment. Spies worked hard or something. I can't recall. I'm heavily paraphrasing here. They worked to get their hands on the Death Star plans.
John Knoll, yeah.
Was it John? Was that him?
John Knoll, yeah.
Yeah, well, he picked it out and he says, look, we can adapt something from this. And you're right, the way that could have went really badly, it could have screwed up how we viewed the very first Star Wars movie, but it didn't. It lent so much more to it. And that's down to the care and the attention and the hard work from the likes of Felicity Jones and Diego Luna, spending a week on that very scene. But although, I will prefix it with this, it was actually Felicity, it says that. It was Felicity Jones. A little bit snooty there. Just a little bit pretentious, visceral and naturalistic and gritty way. Come on. You were standing on a beach holding hands. They'd done that in another movie. I can't recall the one. It was that disaster movie, the tsunami swept through. I think it was Deep Impact. And the daughter went with her father. Bet it didn't take him a week. Come on. No. Don't be so snooty, Felicity. Come on then.
It's time to go. Pardon the pun. But
probably needed
we're going to move on.
As you did say, to be fair.
That's it, yeah. We're going to move on anyway to our next topic, John. This is it's all about Spider-Man 3. I've not spoke about that film before, have we? And it's the set photos reveal Tom Holland's updated MCU suit. This is coming in from Screen Rant, John, and I'm just going to read a little bit of this article because it's mostly a photographic based article anyway, because we want to see what the suit looks like. And a new batch of set photos from Spider-Man Homecoming 3. Is that the name of it? Shared by Just Jared reveal an updated suit for Spider-Man. The update to the suit is quite minor. Spider-Man suit from the end of Spider-Man Far From Home included a small black section in the red waistline that splits the black parts of his suit. Those photographs show that these sections have been removed from the suit. Other than this revelation, the image shows Holland wearing a mask in between takes and indicate his younger brother Harry has a role in the film. This is a bit like James Gunn and his brother, isn't it? John, I thought there was more black in this suit. I don't know if it was maybe just the photograph that I saw online on Twitter. I think it was just maybe the contrast of the actual photograph, but it looked a lot darker than what I've seen before. The one thing I do like about Spider-Man suits, and you can go back to Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's days as well, that they don't bulk him out in any way, like with sort of prosthetic muscles or anything like that.
Nope.
He is what he is. He's a gangly sort of superhero, and that's what I like about the character.
Stephen, I'm just looking at the photographs here. I'm just lost in my own little world. It does looks very cool. Looks distinctive, different to what we've seen before, more black. And it's cool. And obviously Tom Holland has that physique anyway. He can pull it off. He's one of those guys, really. He can pull anything off. You could put him in purple spandex and the guy would pull it off. So it helps when it's an actually very cool design suit. It looks as though, I'm going to come back again to it, it's got little sections of charcoal grey in it as well. So it's different. I've not seen a Spider-Man suit with mostly black or very, very dark navy. So that's nice. It's a different little change. And obviously we need it because Stephen, it stems back to what I says about this movie and what I envisage for Peter Parker moving forward. He was mollycoddled from Homecoming through Far From Home. Even in the Avengers movies, he required assistance from people. This guy is traditionally one of the strongest god-like sort of superhero characters in the Marvel side of the comics. He doesn't need assistance. He doesn't need mollycoddled.
It's not Spider-Boy, yeah.
No, he doesn't need Tony Stark's technology or his Iron Man-esque suits. This guy's a God-given character. He's got God-given ability, Spider-given ability, but it's like godlike. That
God-like abilities and instincts, yeah.
It looks as though he's coming into his own. He's got his own suit design. He's stepping into a more mature-like role. And he's taken over from Tony Stark. He's got the glasses. I don't personally want to see him as the heir apparent to Tony Stark. He's a different character, but I want to see this guy standing on his own 2 feet, becoming more mature. We've had the childlike school years. Time for this guy to step up and start wrecking. Yeah. And I mean wrecking people left, right and centre. Rumoured to have the Sinister Six in there. The likes of Scorpion, Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Vulture, the other ones that are in it. Potentially Mysterio, probably not though. This guy has to step up. We're going to have the other two Spider-Man, I'm doing it again, Spider-Man characters, Eric Spiderman,
Spider-Mans.
They'll come in and help this guy, I'm sure, and hopefully this is just a subtle little sign, just the visual aspect, the guy's suit, that we are getting a very different Spider-Man.
Has the running time been confirmed for Spider-Man 3, John?
I hope not. Stephen, I've told you, I hate that. I hate getting running times, because if you're watching a movie and you know there's another 45 minutes to go and it's reaching a sort of conclusion, it takes you out. You know that it's a false ending.
One thing I don't want, that's it. I don't want to know, but I do want to know that it is over 3 hours long, at least.
Stephen, I think
it'll have to be, John, because I think the development of Tom Holland's Peter Parker as well is very important. You nailed it, John. I think Far From Home missed a trick with his development. It was still the same kid that was in Homecoming. It was still that sort of wet behind the ears, and that kind of annoyed me a little bit, But I think the events of Far From Home with Jake Gyllenhaal's characters made him grow up quicker. Certainly by the end of the film, anyway. Yeah, and I think I think he's going to be a bit more sinister, if you pardon the pun, in this one. But I think he's going to have enough screen time. And that's the thing I think's concerning a lot of people with all these rumours about the amount of villains that are going to be in the film. Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man versions coming into as well.
And don't forget Happy Hogan and Aunt May, they have that sort of side relationship as well. So there's a lot of stuff to fit in. So you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to see 3 years. Stephen, I maintain this will be the Civil War of Spider-Man. This is going to be a big event movie. There's going to be a lot of shit, and it'll be like an Avengers. I don't know what we're on now, 3.5, 4, 4.5. You recall Civil War was classed as Avengers sort of 1.5, 2.5, whatever it was, because people were let down by Age of Ultron. This will be the same. They need this. Marvel needs this. We're introducing a new wave of characters, the Eternals, Shang-Chi. They could hit, they could miss. I think they'll hit because it's Kevin Feige. You need that traditional core of characters and some big bombastic crazy shit going on, and we'll get it with this, and it's coming hopefully end of this year, but probably next year, no doubt.
I think so, yeah. We're going to, well, that's it, John. We're going to stay on the Spider-Man 3 subject anyway with another little article coming in just to close off the show, and it's something that we're hoping for because we're big fans of Charlie Cox, and it's Daredevil star Charlie Cox reportedly wraps filming on MCU's Spider-Man 3. Now, I'm just going to read a little bit of this, John, because according to Comic Book, Cox has wrapped his role on the MCU's Spider-Man 3. Details are slim, so it's unknown if he's playing the same Daredevil from the TV series or a different version of the character. Spider-Man 3 looks to be delving into the multiverse. As always, readers should take this information with a grain of salt until something official is announced. Considering this is true, it'll be interesting to see how Cox factors into Spider-Man 3. It's unknown if this is merely a cameo appearance or if Matt Murdock has a larger supporting role. At the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, Peter Parker was framed for the murder of Quentin Beck / Mysterio, which is the thread Spider-Man 3 will seemingly need to address at some point. Even with Doctor Strange and other live-action Spider-Men having roles, it does say Spider-Man in this article, John. Perhaps Peter seeks Murdock out to be his lawyer in a criminal defence. It also remains to be seen if Cox will suit up as Daredevil and fight alongside Spider-Man in action sequences, or he'll just be Matt Murdock. It's unlikely Marvel clears anything up. If Cox indeed is in Spider-Man 3, it will probably be saved as a surprise for the film. The studios remain mum on his potential involvement so far. They've remained mum on everything that's been happening in Spider-Man 3, apart from obviously the suit, which we've just talked about.
And that was a leak.
The only thing. Yeah, that seems to be the only thing that's coming out of this film at the moment. It's very hush-hush, John, and I think that's a good sign that we're going to see some surprises in this film.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige, we were talking about last week, gave a sitting on the fence answer, if we're being honest, about Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's involvement in the film. He wouldn't confirm it one way or another. That indicates to me they are in the film. And it's the same with Charlie Cox. This has came from somewhere. This is... I know it's not a lot of evidence. There's not a lot to back up Charlie Cox's involvement, but I wouldn't mind seeing him. I wouldn't mind seeing him as the lawyer version of the character, and maybe it's something that will lead to something further down the line. I'm not really want to see Daredevil team up with Spider-Man. I think there are different levels of power, and abilities.
Hawkeye and Black Widow alongside Thor and Hulk, so there is precedent. for it. You have these more humanistic sort of heroes who are not superheroes, and they stand shoulder to shoulder with super soldiers like Captain America. That was incredibly difficult to say. Super soldier like Captain America stand shoulder to shoulder with super soldiers. That's a tongue twister and a half, Steam, but as you do know, I go to websites and read tongue twisters just to keep the tongue sharp, and it works, as you just seen. But Stephen, I'll go to myself to give you a little break, because you're always on the screen. I never give you a break, so I'll give you a chance to maybe get the hat off and give yourself a little, I don't know, cool down if you like. But Stephen, I'd like to see it as well. It's throw a bone to Charlie Cox. This guy always wanted to be a part of the MCU. It was a long ambition of this guy's. He never was given that bone. He was part of the TV sort of Defenders, I think it was, universe on Netflix. So even if it's just as the lawyer character Matt Murdock, that's enough, because it gives the guy a bone. I don't think it'll be the same Matt Murdock from the Netflix universe. I think just like J. Jonah Jameson's J.K. Simmons, J. Jonah Jameson, I think it'll be same looking character, same actor, different version. Obviously, it's an Alex Jones nutjob sort of J. Jonah Jameson we've got in this Spider-Man film universe. In the original Sam Raimi movies, he was a more traditional print figure editor, if you'd like. So I think it'll be a different version of Charlie Cox from the Netflix. I think it will be the lawyer, if he's in it, and I think he will be. There's no smoke without fire. They've not confirmed Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are coming back, but they will be back. We know they're going to be back. It's a multiverse story. You'd be dropping the ball not bringing them back. And as we've spoken about before, it closes up Tobey Maguire's arc. It closes up Andrew Garfield's. They never got the closure. I'd be happy with it. I don't want to see Daredevil. Yeah.
Especially Andrew Garfield's. He never got the third film that he was supposed to get. Everything that was sort of ending in that second film never happened for him, sadly. And I think he was so disappointed because he, like most of us, he grew up as a Spider-Man fan. But you're right, they would drop the ball if they didn't include those two actors in this, this film and the story. Charlie Cox, on the other hand, I hope it's not just throwing him a bone for what happened with the Netflix thing. I hope they're not just you're a good guy, Charlie, and we'll let you have this cameo. I really do want to see him carry Daredevil. As you said, John, if it's not the same version as the Netflix one, then so be it. We've had that anyway. We can always go back and see those ones anyway, anytime we want. Just bring him in. I think he deserves that. I think he was excellent in the role as well. It was something that really took me by surprise, the sort of nature and the grittiness
John Wick's
of the series.
Choreography as well.
Fantastic. The violence was off the scale, for a Netflix series at that time. You've got to remember it was, 7 years ago, and it took us all by surprise how gritty it was.
Stephen, look, there's elements.
That's down to Charlie Cox.
It is down to Charlie Cox. Daredevil was by far the best of the TV shows. The Punisher as well, John Bernthal. There was elements of that universe which could certainly move over to the MCU. I had my doubts about the Punisher, John Bernthal's version, maybe making an appearance in the MCU because it was darker, grittier. But we now know we're getting Daredevil. Or not Daredevil, Deadpool. So if you're getting Ryan Reynolds' R-rated Deadpool character in the MCU, that opens up the scope of what you can do. You can bring in darker, grittier characters. I'd like to see the Punisher make an appearance. I love John Bernthal. I'm watching that guy since Walking Dead and stuff like that. He's an amazing actor. Cool guy as well off the screen. Look, man, I'm not averse to seeing Daredevil making an appearance in the MCU in the future. I just don't want to see him in this movie because there's enough going on. There's enough Spider-Man characters. There's enough villains. But look, if they... Can't argue, if they want to throw Daredevil in there, then why not, man? Well, it's not going to hurt it. But I personally would rather see him being the lawyer. If he's going to be in the universe moving forward, so be it. But hey ho, man, look, time will tell. We shall see what they have envisaged for this movie and in the future of the MCU. Lord knows they do need more characters because they're all dying. I mean, we've lost Black Widow, we've lost Captain America, maybe back. I hope he is. What's your thoughts on that, by the way, Stephen? Because I was actually doing a solo show. What do you make about Chris Evans? Do you want to see Chris Evans coming back as Captain America? It split the fan base. Some people were adverse to it. They thought he'd been out the right way. They didn't want it to tarnish it to be coming back. I personally, as you see behind me, incidentally bought another shield because I'm not happy with that one. I've bought the Falcon and the Winter Soldier shield, which is going to look better. I'm a fanboy of Captain America, so...
I think a lot of people's concerns is the effect it might have on the Falcon and Winter Soldier series as well if he returns. There is a theory going about, though, that I was reading earlier on today, that we could have a Hydra version of Captain America.
I heard that.
One that made a decision,
An evil.
it was.
Was that Grace Hancock? Beyond the trailer?
Might have been. Not well. It might have came from her, but the place I think it might have been Twitter. I was reading it. Intrigued me.
Yeah.
Maybe have a darker version of, Steve Rogers.
Something.
It's a way to get around it, but I don't know. I really don't know.
I did say that. I think that'd be the most creatively interesting route for him to come back in. I thought there'd be two: King the Conqueror time travel or multiverse. Multiverse would open up a different version of the character. He's already played the goody two shoes, America's ass, ultimate sort of human hero who's worth it will Mjolnir. Come back as a darker version, that'd be very, very interesting. Seeing an evil Captain America, I don't know if there's been scope for that in the comics, but whatever it is, man, I want to see Chris Evans back. He's an amazing actor, good guy as well, good left-wing liberal, hates Trump, so he's right up my street. So I want to see the guy back no matter what. But Stephen, are we done here?
Done and dusted.
We're done and dusted. What's your thoughts, guys, on the topics we touched upon this show tonight? What do you make about Zack Snyder? He's not perhaps, given as a 4-hour-long movie, not a mini-series, is that something that intrigues you, which anticipatory deduces you want to see a mini-series, or you heartbroken about that, or are you happy with a movie? What do you make about the other subjects we touched upon? Matt Damon come back to fill up 4-4, the Star Wars stuff, the Spider-Man, Eric Spiderman stuff. You can comment below if you've got anything to say down below in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content. Also, hit the follow button on Twitch if you're watching us on there as well, and you'll get more content like this in the future, guys. But until then, I'm going to bid you farewell with a bye.